Okay, so I want to teach my 3 favorite mindfulness skills. None of this replaces medical or mental health evaluation or treatment. I highly encourage people to seek those things. So my 3 favorite skills, one is a breathing skill, one is like a mental skill, and the third one is just a physical thing. All 3 of these things help elicit what we call a parasympathetic response. So that means the nervous system kind of calming down. So it has our active / stress side, and then it has our recovery relaxation side. So all 3 of these get that going, partly because focusing on the present moment gets that going. So I could tell you to sit and stare at a paper clip and that would get it going. But these also get the body and the mind engaged too. So the first technique that I use myself, I use this a lot when I'm trying to fall asleep, is to exhale longer than you're inhaling. So by definition, when we're breathing out, it's utilizing more of the parasympathetic nervous system. So that alone does it. But again, it's getting you to focus on the present moment. And there's a third component that I like to add in the particular way that I do it. So I like to count in for 4 and out for 8. So it's quick counts. It's like in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4. I just repeat that over and over and over. That's what I'm doing when I try to fall asleep. So the third reason that I like this one, other than it has a long exhale, it gets you focusing on the present moment, is that it has these numbers, and numbers are great because they get this front left part of the brain going, which is the part that's really calm, that thinks things through, that's more rational. And it's something really boring to focus on instead of whatever else my mind was going on about, whether it's related to my life or diet or work or other people. It's just little numbers, and the mind thinks, oh, I can handle those. Not counting, I know how to do that. And so you get a sense of self-efficacy, of feeling like you can handle this. You can handle counting to 4 and then counting to 8. And believe it or not, that sense of relief in itself is really helpful. If you don't like 4 and 8, you could do 3 and 6. You could do 3 and 20 if you want. There's nothing magical about those numbers except that it has a longer exhale. Actually, 7 breaths per minute is about an ideal rate of breathing for most people. You can even do biofeedback to figure out your own ideal rate, but that's a good one for most people to start with. So in for 4 and out for 8, over and over and over and over, as much as you need. One of my favorite tried and true techniques. I do this also whenever I'm trying to calm my body down. I do this when I'm at the dentist, and it's nice because you can do it in your mind. You can even do it out loud. If you don't like the counting, you can even just say a mantra or a phrase with a long exhale. So something like, let go. You'd say that in your mind. Let it go. The other reason I like the counting is sometimes people will just think, take a deep breath. So they'll do this. It's actually not good for relaxing. That's very energizing. So the counting lets you know that you're on track with the right pace. The second thing that I like to do is a little more advanced of a technique, and you can Google this. I did not come up with this. So it's called leaves on a stream, like leaves on a tree, leaves on a stream. So if you look this up, you can find YouTube videos about it. You can find written formats from it, and it's part of ACT, Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. And what this technique is that you imagine that there's a stream, and on the stream there's leaves floating. And every time you have a thought, big thought, little thought, small thought, deep thought, upsetting thought, happy thought, every single thought gets put into words, like words. Like you actually imagine the words, and the words go on a leaf and they go down the stream. You don't get to pick, okay, I want to keep these thoughts so these thoughts stay near me and those thoughts go away. What happens to the thoughts when it doesn't matter. And so this is something that's called cognitive diffusion. So a lot of times we're getting ourselves upset because we're fused to our thoughts. So I shouldn't have done that. Oh no, what's going to happen with this? I'm a good person. I'm a bad person. She's a good person. She's a bad person. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. this is going to end terribly. We can have the thought, but when we get so fused to it that it feels like it's our whole reality, that's a big part of how it's distressing us. So when we actually step back and we see the thought as just a thought that can be put into words, that actual act of seeing the thought as a thought, I'm having the thought that I'm going to get in trouble. I'm having the thought that he thinks I'm not good enough. And we might have that thought many times in a row. And so you keep putting it on the leaf. He's thinking I'm not good enough. He thinks I'm lazy. He thinks I'm a failure. Start to see, wow, I keep having that thought. I keep having the thought that he thinks I'm not good enough. I'm not even going to check in. Do you think I'm good enough? I'm actually just going to notice I keep having the thought that he thinks I'm not good enough. And so as you put those thoughts on the leaf, they go down the stream. Again, partly this helps because it's simply getting you to focus on the present moment. So I actually used to use this a lot when I started as a psychologist, and I would frankly go home and really, really worry about my patients, worry that I made a mistake. Did I document something right? Should I have said that? Should I not have said that? Make myself sick to my stomach panicking about things. Be able to say, I don't even want to say out loud what my worries were because they weren't good things, and put those worries on leaves. And so I would lay there in bed putting my worries on leaves. And so instead of my mental task being to fix all of those problems, instead of my mental task being to go in and try to figure out, did I mess up somewhere? Or should I have done something else? I wonder what she's going to do. I wonder what they're going to do. My mental task was, I need to put this into words and on a leaf. Again, I get a sense of self-efficacy. Okay, I can do this. I can put thoughts into words, put them on a leaf, and let them go. I can do this. And that in itself is calming. Over time, you start to notice what your thoughts actually are and to be able to get more space to reflect on them. I'm having the thought that because I ate this, something bad is going to happen. Wow, I have that thought a lot. Is anything really bad going to happen? And so those thoughts that were just happening automatically, you start to get just a little bit of space. Just a little bit. And the more you do it, the bigger that space is. And the more space you have there, the more you're able to respond instead of react. So whether the thought was something that normally leads you to get angry at another person or yell at them or to feel sick or to panic, it's sort of like in those Matrix movies where the bullets were coming at them and they were still coming at them, but they were able to sort of slow down time, and so that gave them time to move and survive. The thoughts are still coming. We don't have to stop them, but we're able to kind of slowly move ourselves around them. I'm having the thought that my child is yelling at me because she's selfish and hates me and I just want to scream at her. Okay, yeah, I'm having that thought. It doesn't mean I have to act on it because I'm getting that space. So leaves on a stream, I highly encourage folks to try this technique. It's one that can really help give you that space. For some folks, this technique can make them really uncomfortable. In my experience, frankly, it was folks maybe with some PTSD or some unprocessed trauma or personality styles. I noticed folks who have a really concrete style, they don't kind of like thinking about their thoughts in that way. It just might not be for them. So this is not for everyone. If you go to do this and you feel really upset, maybe just don't push it or check in with someone, with a therapist. But leaves on the stream is one of my favorite techniques. And then the third one is jaw relaxation. So I actually just kind of like came up with this myself. So we have this trigeminal nerve here in our jaw, and actually when it hurts, it's one of the worst pains that is kind of known to humanity. And it goes straight to our hindbrain, and it actually bypasses other parts of the brain that most nerves go to, and it goes straight to the parts here that control our states of consciousness and our sleep and wake cycles. And so we're almost always holding some tension there, and when we're in a state of anxiety or we perceive threat, we're going to have even more tension there. So what that means is if we do the opposite, if we relax it, our body's going to take that as a profound cue that things are okay. This is going to look really silly because it's not that complicated. This is what I do for jaw relaxation. That's it. I usually pair it with an exhale because why not? Get some extra parasympathetic drive in there. You could do this when you're out in public. No one really knows what you're doing. You're just like, you're just letting your jaw relax. I do this when I'm trying to fall asleep. You have to be careful because if you're sideways, you'll end up drooling. And I combine it with the breathing. And then usually I'm out. If I'm not out after a while, it means something's going on. So I actually would even have caution doing this while driving because it can be that relaxing. Just simply, and you notice the other thing it does, just like the other two, it gets you focused on the present moment because that's where we are. It's almost always better to be focused on that. And it gets that sense of self-efficacy that I know how to do this. It sounds silly. I don't know how to change my boss's opinion of me while I'm laying in bed at 11 p.m. I can't do anything about that right now. That's going to get my stress response going because I feel helpless and powerless. But I'm not helpless and powerless to change what my jaw is doing. That's something that I can do. So those are my 3 favorite techniques. Counting in for 4 and out for 8. Leaves on the stream. Now that one you really kind of have to be sitting and paying attention to. I have to say that one I didn't like in the beginning. I only did it, frankly, so that I could teach it to other people. But then whenever I teach something, I always make myself do it along with them. The more I did it, kind of do it, and then things got so stressful when I was home at night. I'm like, gosh, I need this, and so I would use it myself. And then the third one is jaw relaxation. Gives you a little space, gives you a little parasympathetic boost, boosting that parasympathetic response, which is actually calming things down. So I hope that those can help. These don't save us from there being bad, painful things in the world. What they do is they help us be our best in the midst of it. I hope it can help. I would love to hear any feedback or questions or comments.